Good afternoon to you all. It is indeed an honor and privilege to be delivering a talk here at the TEDx platform at Trivandrum. If I conduct a poll here now asking you which are the world's most pressing issues, I am sure energy would be in one of those top 5 lists. A couple of years back, I was part of a team that undertook a solar-based rural electrification project in Kollam district of Kerala. It was this project that opened me up to the world of renewables. Post this project, I did some secondary research on knowing in depth about the world of renewables, which drew me into some startling perspectives. I would like to share a few such perspectives with you here today. Globally, every year about 6 billion tons of crude oil is being consumed, and at this rate of use, over the next 60 years, our coal, gas, or oil reserves are due to be extinct, as this graph says. The energy crunch that we face today is already being seen in number of districts of India itself. Take, for example, Kerala itself. We have about 2 hours of power cut which we face every day. Our neighboring state, Tamil Nadu, faces about 8 hours of power cut. Our neighboring country, which recently saw a smooth transition in its democracy, has about 10 hours of power cut in its urban areas and about 22 hours of power cut in its rural areas. So this shows you the magnitude of the energy crunch that we are facing today. And this shows you one dimension to the energy story, that of conventional energy shortage. The second dimension to the energy story is that of non-availability of energy. 1 in every 3 Indians do not have access to electricity. Adding to this, a recent study was conducted across 80 villages of Bihar. This study threw up some interesting observations. First of it, it showed that the main determinant of a place having access to electricity or not is its proximity to the central electricity grid. And it also showed a significant number of Indian villages do not have that proximity to the grid. This essentially means by conventional grid-based energy sources, the energy needs of India's rural India will not be satisfied. So there is a need for a community-based or a village-based self-sustained energy model which will heed to the energy needs of the community. So here comes the need of a renewable energy cooperatives which could ideally be fitting your bill on both these dimensions of the energy story. Next. The cooperation of cooperatives has been there from time immemorial when man was looking for hunting and for fishing. But the concept of rural cooperatives came in with Franklin D. Roosevelt taking office of US presidency in 1933, and he liberally gave grants for setting up of the Rural Electrification Administration. This allowed the rural households and farmers of US to set up rural cooperatives which brought electricity for their own needs. The advantage from a renewable energy cooperative is fourfold. Firstly, this provides you with a possible income source through setting up of a small-scale industry or improving the mechanization which is involved in your activities. And secondly, greater education is possible because children would have access to light at night, and information communication technology is more possible. In terms of health as well, there are significant benefits because of the reduced pollution that comes in because of such renewable energy cooperatives. The environmental benefits are as well in terms of the pollution. To give you a statistical perspective of the environmental benefits, for every fortnight, about 640 million kilowatt of wind power is generated in Tamil Nadu. This translates to prevention of about 5.5 lakh tons of carbon dioxide. Putting it in a better perspective, annually this means you are cutting out the carbon dioxide emissions from about 1 lakh passenger cars. That is the extent of environmental good that you are doing by switching to renewables. The energy source need not necessarily be a single energy powered model. It can be a combination of, say, a solar, a micro hydro, a micro wind, a combination of different energy sources together giving you the energy needs of the society. The gated community concept is getting very popular in the metros of India. They have a common gas connection which gives them the giving them the fuel for the cooking purposes. They have centralized AC connections. This is essentially the community where we could tap in for a rural energy cooperative kind of a model, wherein, let's say you have all the rooftop of the gated community filled with solar panels. You have a biomass plant at the backyard of your house which gives you the centralized gas connection. You have a micro hydro or a micro wind which gives you the other energy needs. So such a community will be self-sustained in itself to be satisfying the energy needs. even in a city like Trivandrum, where the residential associations and flat associations are very popular, they could have such community-based energy generation which would satisfy the energy's needs. So this is one of the future ways where we could look into the community. Next question that comes to your mind is, how indeed do we go about setting up a community development project? The first step would be a community engagement where you go and speak with the residents of the community, ask them the kind of energy use that they currently have, do a survey of the different energy sources that are available over there, and things of that sort. The second is the most critical part, which involves the technical development and financing aspects. As part of technical development, you need to look into aspects like the solar irradiance of the region, which is the amount of solar power that could be receptive in a square kilometer of area. Then you need to look into aspects like the wind pattern, the intensity of the wind, the intensity of water flow. This gives you an idea of how much of power that you could generate from that region. In terms of financing, we need to look from two angles. One, from an urban angle, where a gated community could ask its residents to put in the initial seed money for setting up the establishment. But from a rural perspective, this initial seed money is again a problem. Different successful models have been followed across Germany and Bangladesh, but in my view, from an Indian context, the private industries need to be playing an active role in getting this initial seed investment. So we could think of some concept called a private cooperative partnership, wherein the private would put in the initial seed money, setting up the initial infrastructure needs, then you could have the community taking up the rest of the energy needs, and then there could be some small-scale industry which should give the raw material input for the industry as well. And in fact, the initial seed money could be accounted for as part of the 2% mandatory corporate social responsibility which the private industries need to do today. So such a private cooperative partnership model could be used for setting up such cooperative models in rural India. The next would be the environmental evaluation, permits and approvals, followed up by the implementation stage. Now I would like to take you through a successful such project happening in Jhansi district of Uttar Pradesh. Here what happened was the solar company which set up the establishment put in the initial seed money. Once the establishment was done, a village energy committee was formed, which essentially constituted of people from the local community and the local panchayat, and they were responsible for aspects like the load management, the maintenance aspects, and the revenue recovery. A 20-year contract period was formed over which the initial seed investment was to be recovered. So such a contractual model wherein the initial seed investment can be followed leads to something called a build, own, operate, transfer kind of a model. And interestingly, this led to achieving triple sustainability in this community in terms of economic sustainability through greater mechanization of the floor mills, which were the key occupation over there. Secondly, the environmental sustainability was achieved because of the reduced use of kerosene, which was the main fuels before the setting up of the plant. And social equity was also achieved because of gender empowerment and greater educational aspects. This is the contribution of different renewable energy sources that we currently use in India. As you see, wind power is the major contributor. Interestingly, we see that only 2% of the energy is coming from solar. In terms of a statistical perspective, this is the current consumption from the different energy sources. And when you see the potential, we see how less of the potential that we are currently using. Talking about solar in specific, India has about 300 sunny days a year. And this translates to about 1,500 to 2,000 sunshine hours a year. And considering the solar irradiance that India gets, we could get about 4 to 7 kilowatt of power per square kilometer, which in turn translates to about 600 terawatt of power. To put it in a more realistic perspective, say you cover 10% of India's land with solar panels, you could get about 8,000 gigawatt of power, and this translates to 50 times the current installed capacity. So you see the immense potential that a solar-based panel or a renewable energy combination models have for our future. And we, as the future investors of economy and the energy sector, need to look into such green renewable energy-based models for our residential, commercial, and transportational purposes. I feel the future does not lie in digging up Goddess Earth for fossil fuels, but instead looking up and relying on the Hindu gods of Surya, Vayu, and Varuna. Thank you.